Real, okay, you hear about intermittent fasting, going 12 hours, going 8 hours. For you, what is the sweet spot?
For me, and I have a program, we'll introduce it later. I'm going to give you guys a free code. I sell it around the country. It's called Metabolaunch. It's everything I learned. Okay. But I'd love you to be able to offer that to your listeners.
Amazing.
Appreciate being on the show. I'm sorry, the question.
The question was for intermittent fasting, how long should we be doing it?
For me, intermittent fasting is not for weight loss. It is for health. Okay. Matter of fact, we'll talk about peptides in the future, but there's a lot of expensive therapies we do that some people can't afford. Well, and I tell them the number one thing you can do for anti-aging is actually intermittent fast. Okay. And that number's 16 hours.
Okay. This is amazing. But what is the difference between being healthy and being fit? I want to stop right there and have you talk about that, because I think people get really confused. Because for them, being healthy means your body looks muscular, fit, you can run, 5 miles and it's not a big deal. Some people can be healthy and don't necessarily look built, right? Or am I wrong? Tell me.
One of the things I love the whole I'm big boned. So one of the things we brought into all our clinics is body scan technology. We pay $10,000 for these machines, and when you go in for your labs, and your doctor's checkup, you're actually going to get body scanned. And so the reason we do that is because it's the numbers. I don't care how you feel. It doesn't matter how you feel. The numbers tell us what is healthy and what is not. Right. And so between a combination of a very long and comprehensive blood panel by somebody who can read the damn thing and a coach who can look at the body composition and go, okay, you don't have enough muscle. You might be at the right weight, but you're eating 1,000 calories a day to keep it off because you have no metabolism. Right. I just did a stress test, where it measured, the VO2 max, measured my heart rate, and to say it plainly, you don't know whether you're healthy. The numbers say it though.
Okay, that's a good point, because people will look at someone who has a great body and say, well, they're healthy. Yeah. Or someone who might look a little overweight or look a little underweight may be more healthy because of whatever's going on. So you're saying it's very important to read these scans, know who you're going to, get the scan so that you can see what is really going on in your body. And that way you can attack what needs to be fixed, adjusted properly.
100%. You have to inspect what you expect. And so that's why we do that body scan at the beginning, because if you're with the right, coach, I'm going to say, they should be measuring, okay, you've gained this much muscle, you've lost this much fat. We don't give a shit about people's weight. Weight is bullshit. It's about body composition. Got it. So back to my journey. I went, when I absorbed all this, I told my wife, I said, oh my God, I've cracked the code. I know how to lose this weight. And she's like, oh, that's sweet, honey. Yeah, great. so supportive. But about 6 months later, not even 6 months later, I was invited to do a body transformation challenge. A great company online called First Form. They had a $50,000 challenge for 8 weeks. And I crushed it. That night, I put a photo in, my before photos, which you'll have on the screen, but I lost, I ended up losing 45 pounds in 56 days. And then a month after that, I was still losing. So I lost, the full before and after photos are 90 days. I lost 60 pounds in 90 days. And that was 5.5 years ago. And I like to think I look better than that today. So
people are going to make me stop you right now and say, how did you do it?
Intermittent fasting.
It was.
And the science of that. I wasn't, now, I've had low testosterone clinically, diagnosed since I was 25, which made me an expert now at 44, but so my hormones, the caveat is, I'm not going to say I did this all natural. No, my hormones were optimized. Okay. I have a young man's testosterone. No, a young man, not a Superman. That's steroids. Yeah. But TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, is the most healthy thing you can do. So that being the caveat, my testosterone was good, allowed me to build muscle in the gym and work out and repair and all those things. But my magic number for weight loss and intermittent fasting is 18 hours. Which means I can eat for 6 hours a day. And I don't ever tell people, hey, you have to skip a meal. No, there's sometimes I eat every hour or every 2 hours in that 6 hours.
Okay, well, so let's talk about that. What do you think is most important for people to be putting in their body when they are eating?
Protein.
Like what? Give some suggestions.
Well, the perfect protein is eggs, and keep the yolks. The yolk, no, like eat the yolks.
Yeah.
You know, that the science of cholesterol is a myth. Matter of fact, I just finished a book called The Cholesterol Myth, and it's so eye-opening how we've been vilifying, cholesterol when 85% of your body's cholesterol comes from your liver. But those of you that are familiar with a blood panel might be familiar with the term triglycerides. Well, that's on a lipid panel, like it's fats, but all it is a mathematical equation that says how much carbs and sugar you eat, which those create the sticky particles. Okay. So the simple math is low triglycerides, high cholesterol, fantastic. High triglycerides, high cholesterol, now you could be in trouble because this is sticky particles. But again, it's carbs and sugar. It's not butter and, and fats.
So what carbs are you thinking is okay for people to be eating?
At the end of the day, natural carbs are the way to go. Potatoes, rice, anything natural. Your breads are actually the worst, noodles. Okay. That's not to say I don't eat them. I love me some pasta.
Right.
But at the end of the day, when I'm coaching people on weight loss, which is professionally what we do, I tell people, for example, you must eat 80% of your steak before you have a bite of potatoes. And if you have room for the potatoes, fantastic. Okay. But as we'll talk about later, people don't understand, you don't just need protein to gain muscle, which is super important, but you need it to keep the muscle.
Right.
Because you'll lose muscle. Matter of fact, most people don't understand, muscle is quicker to break down for energy than fat is. So now we can talk about all this orange theories and high intensity intervals. They're not nearly as good as you think they are.
Wow. Okay. Because we as women have been taught going to those HIIT classes, having low calories.
Sweating your ass off.
Yeah, that's how you do it. And you can't just walk for, 10,000 steps because that's not going to do anything for you because it's not enough calories. Tell me why that's wrong.
The average marathon runner loses 6 pounds of muscle during a race. Now, I don't know about you, but I know I call them skinny fat marathon runners. They got the 26 sticker on the back of their windshield, on their window, because what happens is 30 minutes or less into a run, they have run out of their fuel. So our muscles hold fuel. It's called glycogen. And then, of course, blood sugar. So within 30 minutes, though, that's burned up. So now the body has to choose fat, which all fat is stored energy. There's glucose in every fat molecule. But the problem is it actually is quicker for the body to tear down muscle. So when the heart rate is high, AKA, Orange Theory, and running a marathon. And the number that I tell men at least is 140. I would tell women probably 135, 130. When you get over that number, and you don't have quick energy in your muscles anymore, you're burning fat. You're burning muscle.
Yeah, muscle.
Whereas, so I myself included, we do fasted cardio. I don't care if you don't fast 18 hours like I do, but get up in the morning and do a 20-minute walk. Maybe a brisk walk, but you shouldn't have a high heart rate. Matter of fact, I like people measuring their heart rate on an Apple Watch.
Right, I was just going to ask,
Women keep it under 130, men keep it under 140. And what will happen is magical. So if I'm running, on a treadmill for 20 minutes, I might burn, 500 calories. But the problem is 400 of those calories came from muscle. Whereas if I go on a walk for 20 minutes, then I burn 200 calories. All 200 are coming from fat. I literally burned twice as much fat walking than I did running. Now, walking fasted.
Yeah.
If you eat a piece of toast before, then you're just going to burn the toast up.
Interesting.
So quick weight loss hack, fasted cardio. Even if you're going to eat breakfast afterward, which I don't recommend, but get your 20 minutes of fasted cardio under 130 before you eat.
Okay, so let's go back to what you are eating those 6 hours. You're having protein, a little bit of carb. What are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking coffee. I haven't eaten my first meal for the day, black coffee. Now, it took me 3 months to like black coffee, okay? But now I can't even put cream in it, honestly. My wife and I both will go treat ourselves to a nice coffee, and we don't even drink it,
There's so many misconceptions about coffee. People try and get off coffee.
Nope, coffee is a superfood. It is phenomenal. And it is phenomenal for a bunch of reasons. Caffeine is a great thing, but that's not the reason. Okay. It's actually, it's called polyphenols. So the science of intermittent fasting, which your viewers hopefully will learn by, downloading and watching the program, is, and like I said about the anti-aging, is when we're not eating. Our body's doing miraculous things, and that thing is called autophagy. It's the recycling of cells. Now, every cell in our body is supposed to recycle at least once a year. Many are more than that. But even your bone cells are brand new, or should be, every year. Well, the better our bodies are at recycling those cells, the faster. That's anti-aging. If the cells are cycling fast, you can't get cancer. You can't get sick. Right. So that's why I tell people intermittent fasting is a miracle, and you can lose weight with it, but that's not what it's for. Right. But when we eat, I mentioned eating small meals throughout the day is horrible advice. And yes, insulin's a big factor in that. But my main reason is it stops autophagy. Our bodies have two processes. Anabolic, which means when we eat our food, it's taking the nutrients and putting them where they need to go. That's an anabolic state. Okay. Well, when that's done and all the nutrients are where they're supposed to go, now we're in autophagy. Now the body can excrete dead proteins from cells, bring on new proteins, and recycle that cell. That is anti-aging. So back to coffee.
Yeah.
It contains a high level of polyphenols. Polyphenols speed up autophagy.
Got it.
So there's a lot of reasons, but this is not a villain. This is actually a hero.